It's the biggest party of the summer. Woohoo! Party! Party! Woo! Who's ready to party in Ford Field? Party! Woo! Who's ready to party endlessly until you goddamn drop? Like the show should have dropped about 30 to 45 minutes before it did. God, glaciers have moved faster. No, not the wrestler. The Crimean War was looking at this thinking, lads, you're going about way too wrong. You should be wrapping this up sooner. Stop. Do something else. Triple H ain't the goddamn savior, ladies and gentlemen, and this show, even with the positives, proved it. I'm John Rentham with my review of WWE SummerSlam. It was more SummerSlam than SummerSlam, let me tell you that much. Ford Field, side of WrestleMania 23. Oh, Bloodline. Deal has jumped the shark, jump the shark, jump the shark. Can you believe they made 4 movies and made a Jaws franchise? I mean, then again, you know, the first one made a whole lot of money, so they decided to have a French guy direct the second one. I did a video about all the Jaws movies, by the way. Check that out. It's a lot more interesting than a lot of the shit that happened at SummerSlam. There were elements of a good show here, and I don't want to hear anybody say, oh, AEW pay-per-views go on forever, because they do. This show went on way too goddamn long. That was overbooked nonsense to the nth degree. I'm going to be honest right now, guys, that the Raw and SmackDown reviews may go by the wayside at some point, at least for a while, because you can now watch the television, watch the video packages, the endless video packages they put up, and not miss shit. And I was giving this show a chance. I didn't have high expectations going into this. There were times the crowd was really, really loud. I hope everybody that attended it had a great goddamn time. So yeah, the kickoff panel. Kayla, Jackie, who both look great. Barrett, Booker, and Rosenberg. Who wants to hear from Rosenberg and Booker for an hour? Who wants to hear from them for 5 goddamn minutes? So Wade called out the stupidity of the Battle Royal, rightfully so. Titus is a great ambassador for the company, disguising the fact that Vince McMahon is a frickin' pest that is still able to control the company despite having spinal surgery. Oh, don't worry, he won't be controlling it. It's in good hands with Triple H. Except it's not. It's really not. The biggest cock party of the summer, because it was on the cock. Good old SummerSlam. Kid Rock decided to do the cold open for this, despite the fact that Bud Light was running a sweepstakes thing. And Kid Rock was one of those people that got all upset for Bud Light going woke for having a certain spokesperson. Kid Rock, the phony white trash that he is, the big fat phony, the big disgusting phony, the guy that should have joined that little midget shit that he exploited on stage. God, Kid Rock, if only you weren't here, and he was instead, because I'm sure he was a better person than you were. Yeah, a rich kid that poses as white trash. You're a phony, you're a piece of shit, and quite frankly, really anybody that agrees with your ideals, they're not much better than you. So, yeah. The phony white trash piece of shit did this open. Did he sound like he was having a stroke or several during this? It did not sound like he was healthy. That would be such a shame. So yeah, the stadium looked great. So Samantha. Then again, she always looks great. Ricochet better not botch that. Better not botch that at all. Prime Energy is dog shit, by the way. I tried 4 different flavors. It's ass. It's absolute ass. Ricochet against Logan Paul. The match went on first because Logan Paul was going to fly to Dallas and be in the corner for his brother for a fight he was going to have. Because both the Paul brothers have large fan bases. Despite the fact that really outside of diving into certain athletic, I'll take Logan Paul in the ring more than I will Jake Paul as a boxer. But Logan Paul, for all his faults, and God, it's a long goddamn list. It is a really long list. He has taken the in-ring part seriously and is willing to put in the work and do a lot of crazy shit. So they start with some wrestling. Samantha witnessed Ricochet being fisted right in front of her. So he mocks the British Bulldog with a power slam, except the British Bulldog now could have done a power slam. And he hadn't been alive for a while. I understand British Bulldog at a recent SummerSlam, and by recent I mean 31 years ago, said, Brett, I'm fooked. So anyway, a leg drop and the people's moonsault, and they tried to make the most sense out of just a bunch of spots. That's really what this was. It wasn't going to have a lot of psychology. It really didn't. A Spanish fly on the outside. We get a frog splash. We get a bunch of moves. The 630 misses. Some idiot that I didn't catch the name of and really don't care because if he's associated with Logan Paul, he's probably not a good guy. Hands brass knucks and a punch. 1, 2, 3. It was what it was. It did not need to go 18 minutes. This could have gone easily 12 and could have been just fine. Now, this didn't drag nearly as much as some matches, but this still went a bit long. And then, Sheamus arrives in a monster truck. A wrestling show with a monster truck in Detroit. That's the Yeti! Is that the head he's got on or a stump? I screwed that up. I don't really care. And it's one of the 4 main events coming up. Whoa. It is Cody Rhodes, everybody's hand-picked hero. Except mine. I'm not saying he doesn't put in the work, but he ain't his dad. He ain't ever going to be his dad. He ain't ever even going to be as good as Dustin is in the ring. Or at least was, because Dustin, unfortunately, Father Time has latched onto his back. Catches up with everybody. The Beast Bork Laser is here. So it's the second match on the card, but it's one of the 4 main events. That's not how the main event spot works. Michael Cole, you fucking idiot. So, and then Bork just destroys him for a while. And Michael Cole says if you're Cody, Michael Cole's going to be on both shows coming up, by the way. Him and Barrett are moving to Raw. They are going to have Graves, Cole, and Steve Patrick on SmackDown. Is it Booker T on NXT wasn't bad enough? Now I have to hear Michael Cole on both shows? Boy, they are really testing my patience here. So, this went a while. Brock could have covered him 12 goddamn times, beaten him for a 3 count, 12 different times, and halfway to Sicily. But no, he just kept beating him down. Stay down, stay down, stay down, because Cody's trying to fight back like his dad. Because his dad, with oodles of charisma, clearly would have booked it like that. I mean, yes, Dusty overbooked a lot of things. He did, and I understand what they were going for. But again, had this match been 5, 6 minutes shorter, probably would have been better. This got ridiculous because he could have won by countout. And he didn't want to win by countout. And he could have won by pinfall. And he didn't win by pinfall. He could have won by submission. Yes, Cody was going to win. I had no problem with Cody winning, even though I don't really care for him. But they went around everyone's elbow to get to their own wrist after getting to everybody else's wrist. And then loosening up their wrist because they were doing a lot of, wrist work to basically get themselves all amped up for this match. So, Cody fires back. I thought I was hearing some boos. Maybe I wasn't. I don't know. It's a large stadium. I don't know if I was hearing oohs. I really don't know because I couldn't tell. Some of the crowd reactions were delayed because it's a big old stadium. The sound's supposed to echo through. So the step usage, that's not a DQ. Good job, referee. Apparently, I guess as long as it's outside the ring, you can shoot somebody as long as it's outside the ring. You're a bigger idiot than Monsoon. Good old Ventura calling out Giovanni. Cody gets the Kimura. 3 crossroads. 1, 2, 3. Yes, right result because of what they want to do with Cody. Regardless of how I feel, they want to push Cody. They want to feature Cody. They want to build this story arc. And then Bork gives him a handshake. That's a wrap on, I don't know, Brock being done. I think Brock will probably be back through next year's WrestleMania. Would I be shocked if he's done after that? No, because he's in his mid-40s. Let's see. He was 24. He was 24 when he won the championship at SummerSlam 2002, which would mean he's 45 now. And at his body size, even with him only wrestling occasionally, yeah, he would get paydays, but they can only go that well so many goddamn times. So, then here's he's your choice, but not mine is what I said. And then we have a package on Becky Lynch. Now, they had endless ads and, yes, video packages to catch us up on this stuff, but they had a Becky video package, but they couldn't include the match. Now, granted, given how long this show ended up going, probably for the better. But God, you could have shaved 3 minutes off of 4 of these matches and given Becky and Trish something. Hell, you could have had the entrances go a little faster. Cut out a couple video packages. You could have done that. LA Knight gets a big pop. Recaps of Battle Royals, because that's what we need. We need people to be educated on what Battle Royals are. If you need to be educated on Battle Royals, go outside for 5 minutes and ask somebody about a Battle Royal. And then when they look at you weird, Google something. YouTube it. Go on the information superhighway, the internet, not the dark web, because then you're going to unfriend the dark web and you'll hate it, much like I did. Slim Jim Battle Royal. Why is Edward James almost back? Why? LA Knight won. Besides the sponsorship deal, this was terrible. This was terrible. I know why they did it. Large amount of money. Money talks. I get it. Yeah, LA Knight won. He eliminated Sheamus. Michael Cole is going to be on both shows. God help us is what I know it again. Ronda and Shayna entrances. This is supposed to be Ronda's last match in WWE. God, it only feels like she's been around for 5 fucking years. Now, granted, when she first came in and her debut match at Mania, and yes, not everything in that first run was perfect, but she felt like a star. Then the pandemic happened. She had a kid that hopefully is more educated than she is, was more educated than her on world issues by the time it got out of the womb. But nevertheless, regardless of personal feelings, Ronda has not felt like she's given a shit in the entire time since she's been back. And she's been there, she's been off for a bit, she's come back. She wanted to face Shayna in an MMA rules match. And boy, you want to go back and witness one of the worst matches of the last 20 years? Here you go. This could have been the most skilled workers. They could have had Ken Shamrock as a referee. They could have had Dan Severn as a referee. They could have had Gene Kiniski. Gene Kiniski's corpse wouldn't have ruined this match any more than he ruined the Starrcade 83 main event. This was absolutely terrible. The crowd didn't care. Yeah, they were trying to make it interesting, but the story was rushed. Nobody bought into Ronda. People were chanting boring. People were actually leaving to go get a snack or something. I saw people wandering around like they were leaving. And Shayna won with a choke. That's it. Bye, bitch. Nobody's going to miss you, Ronda. If she was motivated during the second run, I wouldn't have cared about personal feelings, any of that stuff. She has not been motivated. It has not worked. So, Kaiser introduces Gunther. Gunther takes on Drew in an IC title match. If Gunther loses here, I'm raging. Fortunately, he did not. The match was good for what it was. It was probably the best worked match of the night because it was under 15 minutes. And they laid the chops in. There was a lot of good shit. Business picked up, as JR says. I mean, JR isn't on this show. He's back on AEW programming. Good that he's healthy. But, you know, strikes, chops, and hard hits, and then a ... dive by Drew. He makes it feel special by not doing it all that often. A splash for 2 and then a chop onslaught. That's the only thing I didn't like. It kind of got to where it felt like, oh, we're just going to wait. I'll chop me. Or you chop me, I'll chop you. And if I don't like it when they do it, you know, in Japan all the time, then I'm not going to like when I see it here. And then Drew got crotched on the ropes later, and a splash, a lariat, and a powerbomb 1, 2, 3. Still champ 32 days, and all he's got to do is get through Payback. I can't, unless they're just completely idiotic, I cannot imagine them taking the title off of Gunther. Personally, I'd have him hold it until Mania 40. He could lose it there and come out and attack Cody right after that. Because realistically, they need to strike while the iron's hot with Gunther. But give him the longest Intercontinental Championship run. It would be about 600 days by the time we got to Mania. And nobody's going to break that record. And he would break the Honky Tonk Man's record, who should have never had the record in the first place. Thanks, Butch Reed. You could have gotten the record, or at least negated, Honky Tonk having the title. But you didn't want to do that. The rumor and innuendo, or inherendo. So, Detroit sings along for Seth. Whoa, 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 whoa. Balor versus Rollins for the second place World Heavyweight Championship consolation prize thing. And yeah, 7 years. Balor had the 7, on there or whatever. So apparently he's a late era WCW fan. If you guys get that, boy, that's a deep cut. Or he's asking what's in the box. Why was Rollins dressed like he skinned a circus clown? Oh, he's wearing the vest from 2016. Oh, it's so terrible. He's rubbing it in Balor's face. Stop thinking about it, anybody that wants to rub it in Balor's face. I know you're thinking about it. Stop it. Get some help. I'm not going to say who it is. They know who they are. So, Liv wasn't on this, but I'll say again, Kier, you stop thinking about it. Stop thinking about Liv. Stop it. Get some help. So, Balor targeted the shoulder. Made sense. Trying to do to Seth what Seth did to him, inadvertently or otherwise. 3 dives, barricade bomb, a buckle bomb. The buckle bomb is stupid. Stop doing the buckle bomb. So, we got a splash. We got a pedigree for 2. I'm sure Triple H was raging. I mean, yes, the pedigree finished off too many people, and it get to the point where it was overdone. But it was a protected finish, so when people kicked out of it, it seemed like a big deal. Now people are just kicking out of it, and it just doesn't mean anything. So Priest is here. This is where it gets messy. We get one punch, the one punch Priest, and then Balor hits a pedigree for 2. We get more stuff going. And then the other members are here. Dominic and his idiotic mullet, and Rhea, who looks incredible, and then they're fighting over the case. They are fighting over shampoo, and then overbooked nonsense. A stomp for 2. And here's the case. Use the case, Finn. Use the case to bash him. I don't want to use the case. Let's argue like idiots while this match is going on. Stomp on the case. 1, 2, 3. And Priest is all upset, and Jesus. And then the Alpha Academy and The Miz did a Mike's Hard Lemonade plug, and it was at this point that I considered taking up drinking, because that's about the only way I think I'm going to ever be able to sit through anything involving these people again. This was terrible. This was terrible. I mean, there are people that like these gimmicks, and that's fine. It was at this point I was really starting to get frustrated with the show. There was one other high point, and that's it. Package on the 3-way. Charlotte comes out dressed as Red Riding Hood. Unfortunately, she also worked about as well as the 2011 Red Riding Hood. They had Amanda Seyfried, or Seyfried, I don't remember how you say it, who looks incredible, and unfortunately that movie wasn't very good. Bianca was drinking some C4, a C4 energy drink, before wrestling. Drinking an energy drink right before you wrestle is certainly a point. It's a point to be made. That point is, don't do that. Do not do that. Do not make that choice. Don't do that. I drink C4. It's not a good idea to really do anything highly athletic. Just make sure you burn it off, but make sure you burn it off slowly. Asuka, Bianca, and Charlotte. 3-way SmackDown. No, it's the WWE Women's Championship match. And okay, this is 21 minutes, and if it had been about 14 and had been not involving Charlotte, this probably would have been better, but this was terrible because you know why? Charlotte needs to go. Charlotte does not need to be here after WrestleMania 40. I'm sorry. Go to another promotion, go to Hollywood, live off your laurels, do something. Of all the horsewomen that are still wrestling, Charlotte is the least of them. She's athletic. There's no doubt about that. She was involved in one of my favorite matches of the year with Rhea Ripley at Mania. To think she was involved. Sorry. Just to think she was involved in one of my favorite matches of the year 4 months ago. And once again, I want to see, and that's despite the fact I'm not a big fan of Charlotte. And I like Asuka, but Asuka has felt like nothing as champion. Has she felt like a champion? No. They tried. They did try, but the crowd didn't care at first. They got them into it, and there were some good spots. But these 3-way multi-person matches are ridiculous. And later they did more shit and more stuff, and this would not end, is what I noted. A double moonsault for 2. Charlotte's got to stop doing that moonsault. I mean, that's the best moonsault she's hit, but that's not a very high mark. And then a step spot. Bianca was selling like crazy, like, oh my God, Bianca. I thought Bianca literally shattered her knee. But then, because she was doing a great job selling, the problem is the emergency aid officials and everything were out there way too soon. They must have already been on their way to the ring. There was a long entrance. A long entrance. Unless the doctors were there in the entranceway or something, I don't know. But they got there really quickly. They were taking Bianca away. And then we get a spear for 2. Bianca comes back in, hits a 450, so her knee's fine, even though she's selling it. The figure 8 on Bianca, she's screaming, and Bianca comes in and, gives it to Charlotte in the face with the mist. She blew her really hard because it was blue mist. And then a roll-up on Asuka, 1, 2, 3. Thanks for coming, Asuka. All that stuff about her coming back as a vicious heel. Oh my God. And she got beat. Bianca wins. And then immediately Io's music hits. And Io, who's incredible, runs down. Bayley's there. Bayley uses the case to take out Charlotte, take out Asuka, and then basically Bianca tries to take out Bayley, and Io hits her in the knee with the case, hits her with the case, and then cashes in. And the referee says, "Okay, sure." Io immediately hits a moonsault. 1, 2, 3. Big pop. I'm glad Io won. And after that great match they had at Backlash, I'm glad Io got a chance to shine and get, a big, big moment. That's great. I don't know if anything's going to come of it. I don't know if she's going to hold the title for more than 2 goddamn months, which would be a travesty after that incredible cash-in. And the fact that Io has really gotten a lot of attention. And how could you not want to give Io a lot of attention? Look at her. But also she's great in the ring. And finally getting a chance to show it. So there we are, a new champion and new big moment. And then we get to the main event with 15 minutes of packages and entrances. Fun fact, guys, I actually went out and did some yard work because I had a bunch of stuff I had to do and lopped about 50, 60 feet of blackberry bushes, crumpled them up and put them in a yard waste bin and everything while the packages were going on. By the time I got back in, Jey Uso was already in the ring, and Roman still had 3 minutes of his entrance. And the reason I did that is I needed to blow off some steam. I was kind of a little bit pissed off at some of the stuff with this show, and just a few personal things that I've been dealing with. Don't worry, I'm good. Thank you very much for anybody that reached out. But I did that, and it was a good thing I did. Because this match was interminable. Roman versus Jey, Tribal Wombat, WWE Undisputed Championship match. And I knew it was going to go long, but I'm sorry. The WWE has jumped the shark once again with the goddamn bloodline. And I was all for Cody not winning at SummerSlam. Now it's ridiculous. Now, I'm not going to get into a long, detailed discussion about this match because it gets to where they eventually use a whole bunch of weapons. But they take their time. Heyman was great because he's like, he's your blood, he's your cousin, he's your tribal chief, he loves you. See, Heyman was trying to make this work. Desperately trying to make this work. But this moved at a goddamn snail's pace. Not the snail from Neverending Story that was a speed demon for whatever reason. Wolfgang Peterson was on drugs when he did that. But we get a kendo stick, and then we get more weapons. We get a chair pile. So now it's garbage. Because every match that involves a chair pile, every match that involves you don't need to do that. Use the occasional weapon and make them more impactful. Or just throw everything in the ring. They're cheering for the tables. I wrote down the Crimean War did not last as long as this. A Samoan drop through the table. And then at one point, we get a strap involved. And we get cousins strapping other cousins or whatever. I've seen this movie before. Always delete your search history. I will be taking no further questions. Here's Solo, once again, and I know they're doing this because he's got to be the final boss. He's got to do all this stuff, but when you are just literally repeating the same goddamn things, you're being worse than the NWO. You're being worse than some of the worst aspects of the Attitude Era. When more people were watching, by the way, yes, the Bloodline is over. It gets a lot of attention on YouTube and various other social medias and on Fox. Though at this point, Fox may not be renewing SmackDown. They may have to go to another network. Possibly for less money. Maybe USA will take them back. Pretty much the Bloodline's the only thing keeping them afloat. But then they get back in the ring. A spear to Solo accidentally. And a spear by Jey for 2. And then later, Solo and Roman are arguing while this match is going on, by the way. And then a barricade spear. Oh boy, haven't seen that before. A table splash. And then a splash, and then a hooded guy comes in and Jimmy, curse your sudden and obvious betrayal. And then table, and then a spear in the table. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to say right now that I knew that Jey wasn't going to win. I don't mind the fact that Roman won. It is overbooked nonsense. It's ridiculous. And at this point, I'm going to probably review a little bit more of the TV. I don't know. I don't know at this point. SummerSlam may have actually broken me. Because for all the good that there was, there are things to look forward to. WWE is going to enter their holding pattern in the fall. And yeah, they'll have their premium live events, but they got the Endeavor merger and all that stuff coming up, and then we'll see what happens. But I would not be surprised if it's going to be a slog till the Rumble. It is going to be a slog. This was not a good show. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritland. Maybe I'll see you for Raw. See ya.